We're absolutely thrilled to be joined by a dear friend who here's a little interesting tidbit. The last time this guest did our show was the final show before lockdown and COVID.
That's right.
This is why I'm really scared of being here. Because the last time all of us were together, the world exploded with COVID. Yeah. So guess what? Bird flu everywhere once this happens.
So we don't know.
Foot and mouth disease coming to a city near you.
Brought to you by 3 Latinos.
Jeez.
Okay.
Cooligans. Yo, by the way, the new Bad Bunny album, Nueva York, that first song, you need that theme song. Cooligans.
Oh my God.
Si te quiere divertir. I love that.
We need Hector Lavoe to yell Cooligans.
I love this.
After doing a line.
We haven't even said his name, but the energy is incredibly high. Absolutely.
Say all three of this man's names.
Absolutely thrilled to be joined by Luis Miguel Echegaray of ESPN and now published author of Messi Mania, which you can get coming out March 4th in the US and the UK.
Yeah, see, Alexis, Peruvians can write, man.
This is beautiful.
Yes, Alexis was saying some really terrible things about Peruvian literacy beforehand.
Right, that's how we booked you. I was like, I need you to prove to me.
No, send him a voice though, because you know he can't read the text.
Exactly. We had to do it by flutes. That's why we always do it.
You know I'm talking about them dudes on the subway. And you're like, ain't nobody ever heard of this
I know,
music.
but like, you think that's the only Peruvian. Your idea of a Peruvian is this guy living with a
My favorite part
puncher.
about it is like, what kind of music is this? World music? Oh, you just music for the world?
Yeah. It's like, oh, we got a Cuban on TV. Oh, it's got to be Al Pacino or Scarface, right?
A fat Cuban talking about soccer. Did you ever think we'd get to this point as a nation?
This is what I love. 3 Latinos right here, taking over. I'm so proud of you two, by the way. 10-year anniversary, right?
Coming up. Yeah.
See, anybody can just do a show. It's absolutely ridiculous. No, but you guys are a testament, bro.
Sometimes the don'ts become the dudes.
I know, seriously. I mean, I don't want to get too political, but we are a nightmare for so many people, and I love it. Congrats on that, by the way. And that's a gift to you, by the way.
Thank you. Oh, the book. Okay, yeah. No.
Just one. I'm Peruvian after all.
Let's talk about the book. Yeah, Messi Mania. Obviously, this the last 2 years and having Lionel Messi in Major League Soccer, just in American soccer, I can imagine, clearly the inspiration is there because a lot of people are not only going to be introduced to him, but introduced to him in a different way. And you chose to capture that and tell that story. So let's talk a little bit about the inspiration for the book and why you want to write it.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I mean, you said it right there, right, Chris? I mean, Messi in Miami, in the US, that summer 2023 would have happened, just like US culture, sports culture, whatever it was, like exploded, right? Everybody was just paying attention to what was going on. This book is about his arrival to Miami, but it's also about his life story. And it's really written for young adults, for teenagers, because I really feel that, my wife's a public school teacher, and she always tells me that one of the hardest things right now, as has always been the case, to help boys out just read and maintain reading. And there's not enough like stories about sports athletes and heroes. And I think Messi arriving to America, and his whole story, because it's really such an underdog story, right? Growth hormones. He immigrated to Europe when he was 13 years old. He's an introvert. Like many people thought that he was just the weirdest kid ever. So he had very difficult times socializing. I wanted to create that as a story for young people and say, especially immigrant kids, and say to them, it doesn't matter what obstacles in front of you. Just go out there and do your thing. You can do it. And I think Messi's arrival to the U.S. is a perfect example.
I didn't know this about your wife, that she's a public school teacher trying to teach boys to read. Let her know we don't need it. You know what I mean?
Peruvians don't need it. That's for damn sure.
You can make it real far without reading a whole bunch of stuff.
Not a day in my life.
First of all, get a Netflix account and you're good.
Yeah, bro. You see it. You don't got to read it.
Just all you got to do is search on YouTube, red pill content, and you're good.
And that's how we lost Christian.
And we replaced it with AI. Right?
I'm curious about this, if you, because this is my sort of thought on Messi, and you even writing this book and targeted at young adults, and sort of he is a hero to a lot of people, but he is a hero in a different way. Yeah, he's not, like you said, introverted, not very vocal, doesn't really speak out about a lot of things. You
don't know a lot of his personality or opinions.
Yeah,
it's all just what he does on the pitch.
Doesn't speak English, chooses not to. Yes. I mean, he purposely does it.
Yeah. And I've heard, a friend of the show, Julian Gressel, his teammate at Inter Miami, says that he actually does speak English on the pitch and at a decent level, even to the
when he trusts people, that's when he does it. But he will never do it publicly.
Yeah, he said
like, he'll go to like all over the world with events or whatever. And they'll be like, whether it's in France or whatever, and say, Leo, a few words in our language. And he'll literally just be like, no.
I love that he's holding on to the Maldives. He just refuses to.
But what could you say or speak to about that level of heroism and inspiration that he offers when he is not very vocal? Like, what is it about him that we all sort of connect with?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. And I think it actually begins right there. I think it's the fact that he is an introvert and he really chooses very wisely throughout his career and in life to be very specific about who he talks to, how he like portrays himself publicly. There's a part in the book that I talk about his childhood when he was growing up in Rosario, Argentina. One of his very best friends is this girl like who was in every class with him growing up or whatever. If Messi wanted to ask a question to the teacher, he would whisper it to his friend and she would ask for him. Like that's how much of a, quiet, introverted person he was growing up. And that kind of never left him. And I think to answer your question, he's won the World Cup. And, shout out here. I interviewed him one-on-one.
Hey.
Just saying.
Okay.
All right. You got to big it up right there. But the reason why I bring it up is because when he entered the room, he acts like he's not Lionel Messi.
Sure.
Like, he literally is just this humble person. And the first thing he asked me was just like, how's it going? How are you? I told him, I'm a lifelong Villa fan, by the way. And he was like, I say hello to Dibu and stuff. He's not really demanding attention in the way that we think he demands it. I think it's different when he's like in the training pitch and when he's people that he trusts. And obviously when he's playing, something completely different changes. He just wants to win.
I think that's the case for most footballers, right? They have a different personality
Two different
in training
personalities
versus in public.
Yeah.
But the thing about Messi that's so mysterious is like, we don't get that second one. We don't get a personality in public. So even when he takes pictures with his wife, it's
and
just
I think that's
smile.
the attraction.
Yeah,
the fact that you just like everybody's like, I want more, and he'll give you just a little bit.
So he's not going to start a YouTube channel like Cristiano Ronaldo. No, what you're saying?
That would be amazing. Can you imagine that? Yeah,
it's just him whispering to someone. They're like, comment, like, subscribe.
Exactly. He'll be like, join us next week.
It is really remarkable. I mean, like, and we've gotten the chance to see him play a few times. The first time, the first time we saw him play, at least the first time you didn't see him play before when we went to Paris, right?
No, PSG debut was.
We saw him in the PSG.
We saw his PSG debut and him getting like subbed off in like the 70th minute, and it was like, and Mauricio Pochettino was the manager, and even in that moment, it was just like, all right, he does not want to be off the pitch right now. He can still play. We saw him in Charlotte when Inter Miami played Charlotte FC, and we were kind of right on the pitch. He walked by us, and even for me, I mean, we've been covering this game for these 10 years that we've been doing this, and Messi. I'm not necessarily starstruck around Messi, but what affects me is how starstruck everyone else is.
Right.
Even people who aren't typically soccer fans.
Yeah.
No.
It's
children,
everybody. The effect is so remarkable. I mean, I've interviewed so many players. I mean, like it's sort of lost on me the fame around the players, but the effect, the impact is just. It's like, it makes everyone sort of like delusional.
And I think it begins because he's never wanted it. Like, not the spotlight. He's just wanted to play and be the kid that just does things. And you see it over and over again throughout his career. And when he first moved to Barcelona with his dad to do the trials at La Masia, he was in the same time when Piqué was there and Fabregas, and both of them recall saying, I thought this was a kid with needs that was just here.
Sure.
Like, we didn't know what this kid was about. He was so introverted in his corner, just sitting there, whatever. Granted, it's difficult because, you're an Argentinian kid coming to Barcelona to do a trial. But the moment you're on the pitch, you do your thing. That kid has never left him. He's always been like that. Yeah. And so, like, I think it always just comes back to the fact that we want more and he'll never give you more.
How did he manage to live so much of his life in Spain and not pick up a Spanish accent?
That's on purpose.
Yeah.
It's so incredible.
He is so proud of being Argentinian.
I also think because he left and he had so many comparisons to Maradona, that he felt like I need to remain as
I need to
Argentine
do
as possible
something.
because they're gonna say I haven't been here since I was 13.
Yeah.
If he pulled up, he's like, and they'll be like, no.
I'm not talking.
No.
With their mate or whatever. Exactly. Which, by the way, I don't even. It's disgusting.
I'm a fan of mate.
No, you have to be, bro, because you're surrounded by people that drink it all the time.
Not as much.
No, you're coming back to me.
No. Yeah.
Peruvians hate that stuff. We have mate de coca, which is a different thing, and then you need it for matcha. But like, I don't like it's so gross, bro. I don't care how many. Like, this is where Messi and I will differ, unfortunately.
Right.
But anyway, to your point,
that's the only difference between the two of you.
We're extremely.
The list ends there, dude.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
let's just start with personality. You've never been the quiet type. Let's just end there.
Unfortunately, that is true.
I want to ask about his time coming to Miami because there was a big conversation right around the time. Remember, there was like rumors, will he not? City was possibly going to sign him, and then he releases the video, like a selfie video of him saying, "I'm coming to Miami."
Yeah.
Then starts the conversation. Can Messi Mania, to reference the book's title, can that actual Messi Mania be duplicated in the U.S.? Does the U.S. care enough about him? And then he goes to Publix. And the world is like, he eats cereal. We need to follow him everywhere he goes. And there's like security has to show up to the supermarket to get him out of there. That, I think, might have been a bit of a rude awakening for him that like, oh, I thought maybe there was a bit of him that thought you go to the States and you kind of maybe don't have to deal with the craziness.
Yeah.
Nah, fam.
Well, he did the most Florida thing. Like, he did 3 Florida things in the space of a week. He like ran through a red light. He went to Publix, right? And obviously, he went to the beach every now and then. Well, the Publix thing, like, obviously, that was a completely, fabricated type of event. I know that it seemed very, like, unique and spontaneous, but, like, Messi knew damn well what was going to happen if he went with Antonella to, get some bread and chasing Matteo down aisle 3. Here's the thing.
I wonder if Antonella did what my mother would do, which is like threaten white kids running around that she's going to beat them too. That's what my mother did. We don't hit the whites, mom.
Well, she definitely wouldn't be going to a restaurant in New Jersey. That's
It's too expensive.
Bro,
don't do it.
I'm with you. But to answer your question is this. Miami in itself, South Florida, is extremely, obviously, Latin American, but it's very Argentinian American.
Which is new.
Which is a very
you go
new
back
concept.
a decade, that's not
100%. It was more Haitian, Cuban, of course, but Argentinian Americans, there's a massive, massive community there. So he knew exactly that when Beckham and Jorge Mas were selling in the project, that's part of it. And the first question I asked him was like, I've never seen you happier, honestly. Like, yeah, Barcelona, but you're so happy. And he's like, yeah, because my family's happy. And they felt finally after the nightmare that was PSG that he could go to a place and he could just feel very Argentinian. And that's exactly his life right now. Yeah. It's the closest he will be to Rosario, to being with Argentina in Miami. And I think that's going to be a massive factor this season, after this season, and so much forth after that, with the World Cup and everything.
Right. He did say just like a day or two ago that he was asked like where does he want to live and where does he want to stay after his career.
Barcelona,
he said Barcelona, which is
where his kids were born. Like,
that is interesting.
It is because I also think of it as comparing, Messi kind of to like the economic impact that like LeBron, when he left Ohio, it was like literally money taken out of the GDP out of out of Ohio.
I was in Ohio.
That one restaurant in Youngstown.
Oh my God. Youngstown. Don't go to a restaurant in Youngstown.
If you're Peruvian in Youngstown, I apologize.
There's no restaurants in Youngstown. It's just boxing rings that also serve food. Youngstown's a rough place. But I was in
business idea.
I was in Ohio and we went to like the one rooftop bar that some of the players go to. Like that was
Cleveland?
Deladonna. I was in Cleveland. Yeah. And the Deladonna. Remember him? He was on the team. He was there hanging out. It's like, oh, this is where all the players go because it's like the only nice rooftop.
Sure.
And somebody was like, she was talking. I was like, oh, you don't sound like you from Cleveland. She's like, I was born and raised here, but I moved to LA to start my media career. But I'm back because LeBron's back. Like he brought people. There was, I don't know if that's gonna happen.
You're doing the follow. No, well, I mean the thing is, Miami in itself, as you mentioned, like obviously Messi getting there, it just fuel to the fire, right? But it is so quintessentially Latin American that with him, without him, like it's still gonna be Miami. The very important thing for Inter Miami is, and this is the one thing when I was talking to Inter Miami fans just to see who was arriving, it's like we're so excited about Messi. Obviously, it's gonna be incredible, but we need to remember that we're a club after he leaves.
Yeah.
And that's gonna be very important to remain that relationship with Argentinian Americans, and not just them, but just like overall.
But Messi, part of him signing with Inter Miami was I forgot what the percentage is, but he's going to be a part owner of the team. And Beckham also said he had comments. He was like, I want him to stay, and it's wanting him to stay out of like. Having Messi around.
I just want him to hang out.
Will be good for business.
Also, what are you going to say? I don't care if he stays. You have to say it.
He knows that Barcelona is, a very special place in his heart, Barcelona. And there's no doubt in my mind that I think that eventually he does want to go back and live there. But I think that it all really depends on Antonella.
Right. Like, little happy wife, happy life type of situation. I wonder.
He's normal, just like us.
I wonder if after he retires, if he's sort of going to change in some way. Maybe he will be more vocal. Maybe he will do more ads where he's like speaking and things like that. I wonder what direction his life kind of goes.
I just don't want him to be a manager.
Right. He doesn't.
You don't think he has it?
I don't. It's not that I don't think he has it. It's just there's no outcome that's good after everything that he's done as a player.
Right.
Because as a manager, well, first of all, you can go either one or two ways. Thierry Henry, when he was a manager and when he was here at MLS, he was so frustrated with some players because it's like, hello, we can't do what you used to do, bro.
You're not surrounded by 10 on Reeds.
I don't think Messi's gonna be like that.
Also, when Maradona was manager,
that's where I was going because his Maradona-esque personality was positive in one way, but it was also negative in others.
Yeah.
And I just think that, as a manager, you're not going to win every game. There's going to be criticism at some point. Just leave that behind. And I don't think he would do it. But I'm with you because I'm very interested to see what kind of person he's going to be after he retires.
I wonder if he completely disappears from the public spotlight. It feels like the move for him. But I also feel like one of his kids will maybe go pro.
Yeah, which one do you think?
I don't know because I don't really know his kids like that.
Mateo's the one that's like the best one right now. I mean, he's
the one that plays after matches.
The Inter Miami Academy.
Thiago is he's very chill, Mateo's insane. He's just a crazy kid, and he has that garra that wants to. So I agree with you. But,
I could see that.
But that kind of pressure on those kids, just do your thing. But whatever.
Yeah, well, go Cuccittini. Take the Cuccittini name. Don't go Messi. But to see Messi in his suite, just staring at his kid playing, that'd be kind of cool.
Sure, because it would be. I can't imagine. I'm thinking of the Ruben Amorim and Marcus Rashford beef. You can beef with Messi if he was the man. It would be.
Yeah, you keep your mouth shut if he says something. Well, but the other thing that I was going to say is that we have to also remember that, and it's to your point about, that he has part ownership as well, and obviously the Adidas deal and stuff. Messi has an empire beyond this as well, right? In terms of, what he wants to create. There's already a film production company that, the Messi brand will go way beyond after he retires. He's just going to have to be very specific about how he wants to handle it. And if he goes to Barcelona, that's another thing. But in America, in Miami, David Beckham's right. He wants him to stay because he knows how powerful that empire can be for the future as well. Hence, the energy that so many young kids, have to work. I mean, it's amazing, man. We all remember that 2023 Leagues Cup run, but literally, I have so many stories of so many kids all over who never really picked up a soccer ball, and now they're just all about Messi, and they're getting into MLS and all that stuff. And I'm not saying that Messi should only just be the way that attracts, but it is just adding more fuel to the fire. And the World Cup in 2026.
Well, you've been around the sport long enough. What do you think it's going to take for MLS where they don't need a Messi? It's good to have a Messi, but you don't need a Messi to draw the eyes.
I've always said that you need three things for MLS to not just be successful, but to really continue to. And this is a real pivotal time for Major League Soccer because one of the questions that you're asking, but two, because the World Cup's coming. Mm-hmm. And even though it's not directly related with the league, it's an important part of understanding what MLS is going to be. MLS to me needs three things. It's always needed three things. Number one, it needs to cultivate a good relationship with the communities that they have, including the academy. So NYCFC, when it goes to Queens, build a really good relationship there, build that talent. LAFC with the Mexican-American community in LA. Inter Miami and the Latinos and the Afro-Latinos that live there in Miami. You need to, that's one. Number two, you need to make sure that you become a transactional league where you're not just buying players, right? You're not just getting Messi, but you are now a place where Europe's looking, going, Miguel Almiron, who's now back at it. That's a good
John
example.
Duran.
Alfonso Davies, John Hader Duran is another one, right? Or Pepe, like, you need that. You need to be a transactional league.
Sure.
And then the third thing I think that's really important is to continue to bring the Messis and stuff. Like, I think not bringing James Rodriguez here was such a mistake.
It's so
man.
frustrating. Yeah, man.
Because I'm telling you, he would have like Orlando, even NYCFC. I feel like
Bro,
would have done.
Colombia's would have gone nuts in
Nuts.
Queens. bro.
Roosevelt
nuts.
Avenue would have been locked
Jackson
down.
Heights would have been the place to be.
Queens would have been so
Queens would
lit,
have been
especially with the
bumping, bro.
stadium coming.
and that stadium's going to be beautiful.
Yeah.
So I think those are the three things that MLS needs, and it is doing that. So it just needs to continue to do that in order to grow.
The other thing I want to ask, not to bring the mood down too much, but you haven't been on it's been a long time since you've been on the show. And we haven't
Bro,
really
don't
got.
remind me. Last time we were here.
Yeah, we broke
What
the
a great
internet.
episode. COVID-19.
Yeah.
That's
But,
it.
All right, wash your hands, Luis.
Sadly, during that time, since you were last on, we lost a dear friend, Grant Wall.
Yeah.
And Grant was, obviously we lost him at the World Cup before Argentina won. I'm just curious, how much were you thinking about Grant while writing this book? Because he obviously had a deep fond love of Argentina. He called it like his second home. And it obviously getting to see Argentina lift the World Cup without Grant getting to see that obviously affected me and affected us.
Yeah.
But I'm curious how how that affected you in writing this book.
Yeah, no, thanks for asking, man. I mean, obviously both of you knew him well as well. Grant Wall was a mentor of mine. Obviously, he helped me so much. Planet Football TV is where I literally started in terms of being on the screen, and he taught me how to be a sports writer and a soccer writer. I think he's all over this book. I said it, when we said our goodbyes at the event in the city to exactly what you said.
Yeah.
When Argentina won the World Cup, it's like
they did it for him.
It was for him
Yeah.
in a really weird way. And the way that I write is the thing that made Grant so many wonderful things, but the thing that made Grant so amazing was that when he wrote, like, there was so much of a sense of poetry and empathy in the people that were in it, whether it was about an individual or like a game recap. There was so much warmth and heart and love for it, and that Messi Mania, to me, like, it's Grant's all over that.
Sure.
He taught me how to be a writer. So, whoever buys Messi Mania, you can pre-order now.
Please pre-order.
Grant Wall is all over. He's a big part of who I am today. Not just before, but now as well.
Sure.
The essence of Grant Wall is in it. I want to switch subjects. Obviously, recipes.
He did a terrible Argentinian accent, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, I can imagine. He did a
Like,
terrible American
he would literally
accent.
call me and be like, "How's this for my Argentinian accent?" I was like, "Do you want me to be nice, bro?"
Yeah.
This is an SNL sketch.
It's like if Conan O'Brien went to Buenos Aires and he tried to.
You were like, he does it, and you're like, all right, we'll do the Argentinian accent.
Are you done?
Yeah. Are you done making fun of me, dude? I want to ask you about Aston Villa. You are a massive Aston Villa fan.
Yeah.
I think the last time we spoke, they had just gotten through the relegation and getting re-promoted.
Yeah, bro.
Right? You look at everything that's happened. Jack Grealish sale, and look at where you are now with Unai Emery, man. Talk about Aston Villa and just the come up that they've had, because they were kind of one of those teams that were kind of languishing up and down. Sorry if this reminds you of anything. Everton.
It does remind me. You said up and down. But this is just down.
No,
Sorry,
man,
just languishing.
absolute love.
Yeah.
Everton.
Thank
man.
you, brother.
You gotta any kids watching. You gotta suffer in order to understand love and success. These new kids. You were talking about Man City before.
Yeah.
If you're choosing Man City now, Real Madrid, oh, well done. Your diamond shoes don't fit, and your 50s are too big for your wallet. You need to support a team and struggle with them, because that's when you will know the true meaning of love. I'm telling you right now.
Become Arsenal fans.
Yeah.
Sorry, struggling.
Well, so thanks for asking. Villa is like they're my heart. I immigrated to England when I was 11, 12 years old. It was very difficult for me to assimilate.
You took HGH and
yeah, exactly. I brought my flutes with me as well. It was really
no, the HGH is just beans and toast.
Yeah. They were like, "Oh, you're Paddington Bear." I was like, "No, bro, stop it."
Yeah.
But Villa was the
You can
connection.
actually, now that people know that, you can hear the amalgamation of both those accents when you speak.
Sometimes.
Well, actually, you just made the Paddington Bear reference, but I didn't know that Paddington Bear is Peruvian, right?
Yeah, and the story is that he's a Peruvian immigrant and like arrives in England,
Right.
and all that stuff. But you go to Peru and they're like, ¿Quién?
Paddington?
Yeah.
No.
Even though the second was being filmed there. But so anyway, but Villa were the connector of everything to me because it was very difficult for me. And it was obviously at the time when the Premier League just launched. Villa came second in the debut season after Manchester United. So I fell in love with them. And like you said, we've been through some times, man. Like before Unai Emery, years before that in 2017, 18, like they were in the championship. We were like flirting with maybe League One. It was some tough times. Dean Smith came, who now manages Charlotte, and he saved us. Then Steven Gerrard, we won't talk about that. And then Unai Emery came in November 2022. And think about this. In less than 3 years, we went from 17th, 16th in the Premier League, flirting with relegation. Unai Emery comes in. He gets a lot of criticism because of what happened at Arsenal. And from that, we are into a bye in the round 16 of the Champions League.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's remarkable.
It is.
It's a remarkable achievement.
Yeah.
And people don't talk about it enough because,
They lost in the good evening, and it's the same nonsense.
And that racist, xenophobic, like bullshit. I know you're gonna bleep it, but I hate it so much because it minimizes. He is one of the best managers out. I'm not just saying because
he's proving it.
And by the way, when he was with Arsenal, he had to take over Arsene Wenger, which is like trying to take over an institution.
Yeah.
We saw how David Moyes did it.
And my friend, he got them to a higher place at the end of that, that first season, higher place than the last season of Arsene Wenger in his first struggles. So, it's not like he's and a final of the Europa League as well. So it's not like so anyway, with Villa, he's done in less than 3 years. We're a Champions League team and still fighting for that right now and to the round of 16.
And just sold a player for $80 million.
Oh my God.
Bro, this guy is making bad.
Yeah. We had a little bit of debate in our group chat because we were kind of in different sides of it. Is John Durant basically throwing his career away at this age? He's obviously going to make a lot of money.
He's not throwing his career away. Jon Hader Duran, I know him well because I did a very big story on him when he first
Pronounce his first name?
Jon Hader. Jon.
Jon.
He's Colombian. Jon.
Yeah.
But what you said, Jon Hader?
Yeah, because in Colombian, he's got a Hader, and it's like his, he kind of has, like me, like Luis Miguel, he's Jon Hader. So in Colombia, they go, Jon Hader. But you can say Jon Durant.
Yeah. I was just like, where's he
getting this? My wife sometimes says Luis, not just Luis Miguel. And I'm like, oye, Luis Miguel, if you're mad at me, you say my whole name. So Jon Hader.
You're like that singer, Juan Luis Guerra. I can't.
You can't.
You say the whole name every time.
JJD is fine. But so he has, two names, but really it's, you can say Jon Hader or John, it's fine.
Yeah.
But if I say it, it's Jon Hader Duran.
Yeah.
He is a ridiculous talent, right? And I know his story well, from Envigado to Chicago Fire, arrives to Villa. He's 21 years old. And since he arrived at Villa, he's had a wandering eye. He's just wanted to always think, Real Madrid, I can be the biggest thing. And Unai Emery has tried very hard to help him. And he's a ridiculous talent. And he has given Villa already some historic moments, like that winner against Bayern Munich in the Champions League.
You were there, right?
My wedding.
So I will have to cut that out. I don't want a public school teacher banging on our door.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, she's more Peruvian than me these days. So but anyway, so I personally think it's a mistake because, with all due respect, the Saudi Pro League, unless you're talking about Al Nassr and all those, it's still like the competition is not.
Yeah.
But he's 21 and he's going to make his money. And he worked his ass off from Medellin, his humble beginnings, to pay himself and his family, do your thing. And Villa paid like 18 million pounds from Chicago Fire for this. We're getting nearly 80 million euros for this.
Yeah.
I don't want it to be in January because I don't like it, but you just, it's going to end up being 90 million with add-ons. Like, all right, you want to, because he doesn't want to be at Villa, so why would you want to stay? And that's what Unai Emery said after the game.
I think it's going to be interesting to see because I think that was the same take I had. He's so young that if he stays there for 3 or 4 years, the amount of money he makes changes his family, probably changes the neighborhood he came in.
Generational wealth,
by far. But then also, he comes back to Europe, still not even in his prime yet.
He's 24.
Yeah. He's still got 2-3 years left before he's in his prime.
Exactly, and that's the
at least he'll play because Unai Emery's not really starting him. He's gonna start at Al Nassr,
but he's not patient, and that was the problem with Unai. It's like Unai was like, "Be patient." I play with a lone striker, and he was doing well. It's just that he got sent off against Newcastle, and then he's always had a wandering eye. That's why West Ham, he did the X thing in the summer. He thought he was gonna go. So to your point, he's gonna be 24 in a few seasons. The only worry for me for him is that Nestor Lorenzo, the Colombian manager, he may not see this as a great move.
Yeah, I can see that too.
And
Yeah.
if the World Cup that's coming up, like, you know, he might risk that. But he's with Cristiano Ronaldo, Sadio Mane. Hopefully, he'll be able to get minutes, do his thing, and still have a spot in the Colombian national team.
But it's nuts, man. Your team sold this young, great player to Al Nassr and is going to sell Ali Watkins to Arsenal.
Bro, listen,
Crazy
what's
how that's
Arsenal?
working out.
Can I just say,
Crazy how that's going to
Well,
work
they
out.
could be
for
left
you.
with no strikers.
any
Yeah.
Arsenal, like, what are you doing, man?
Yeah.
We're trying to play Celtic, getting ready. Suddenly, like, Villa
Hey.
gets a call from Arsenal.
All right. We also had a game, all right? Y'all act like you were the only ones playing that day.
I know.
Every team was playing.
Yeah, but this is the first time we've done this. You guys do it every year. We're like, we're freaking out. Celtic, hello? What? No, we can't get rid of Ali
Yeah.
I'm
Watkins.
busy.
Yo,
you
do me
need a
favor.
striker,
Don't
straight
start
up,
out.
brother.
I know I'm trying to steal yours.
No, you're not getting Ali. Not for 60 million.
You know what I say?
That's an
Boniface
insult.
almost went to Al Nassr, but then Young. Well, let's go buy Boniface.
Calvert Lewin, bro. He's a good
He
one.
can't even score
That's where he was
there.
supposed to go a
Remember
couple
that
years
50
ago.
million?
Yeah, but they feel
But the demand for strikers for a lot of teams is big.
Yeah, it's huge.
massive. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens in the last few days of the
amazing. Luis Miguel Echegaray. Everybody, go pick up Messi Mania. Pre-orders are available now wherever books are sold. Do your thing. But yeah, March.
What website helps you the most? Is it Amazon?
Nothing,
there's-
man. No matter. You go anywhere. You go to Amazon.com Peru. You go to Amazon
Is it .com.pr? What is Peru?
Go
Is
to
it-
Newark.
Yeah, go to Newark. Go to Newark. You get the book.
Yeah, PR. Voy a llevarte papel. Yeah.
Luis, but it's always an absolute pleasure. Not only just you being on the show, but even just hanging out, man. You're just like one of the most, just one of our favorite people.
No, listen,
The
in this
soccer
game.
world in New York is better off that you're here.
No,
so
I
stop going
appreciate
anywhere.
it, but the sentiment is the same. I always, kind of started like this with a joke at the beginning, but I mean it. 10 years, Cooligans is incredible. And you guys are an absolute inspiration to anybody that wants to pick up a microphone and they don't know how to do it. Because I get emails all the time with young journalists telling me, how can I do this? How can I do that? I mean, you guys just picked up a mic, did your thing, and look, like it's ridiculous. So you guys are an inspiration, and I appreciate you. So,
My God.
Luis, un placer, hermano. Thank
but
you
we're not
so
going to New York for dinner. Right?
Yeah. Not in Jersey. We're going to stick in New York.
March 4th, Messi Mania. Go pick it out. Luis, thank you so much, man.
Thank you, man.